Hello everyone, welcome to my very first walkthrough of a game recorded directly from PS3. That's right guys, I have finally been able to obtain the means to record games directly off of PS3. I thought it would be an impossibility, but it wasn't. I'm using a device known as a Mirabox USB 3.0, and Mirabox is spelled Mirabox, and then it's USB 3.0. And it has allowed me to capture this game. I've been wanting to do a walkthrough of this game for a while because this game is just stupidly fun. It's not that good of a game. This game is roughly like a 5 out of 10, but it's still a lot of fun to go back to every so often because it's just the stupid kind of fun that anyone can really enjoy. And it does have a slightly challenging difficulty known as Assassin difficulty, and this is what this video is for. So this is a walkthrough of the Bourne conspiracy on Assassin difficulty. This is the first level, Dangerous Beginnings. And all of this mission is just fist fighting. So we're going to be introduced to the general combat, we'll be introduced to the power attacks, we'll be introduced to takedowns. It's all pretty simple, but I think it's best reserved for the next video, because I feel like it's worth discussing my experiences with recording this game using the Mirabox 3.0. So the Mirabox 3.0, what you have to do in order to set up the device is you have to have two HDMI cords. So obviously the HDMI cord that's directly connected to your PS3, you need to bridge your PS3 to the Mirabox 3.0. So that's one HDMI cord that's been used. And then the second HDMI cord is for directly connecting the Mirabox 3.0 to your PC. In my case, it's a Mac. But with the PS3 HDMI cord, you need to connect it to the part of the Mirabox 3.0 that says HDMI in. And then for the part of the Mirabox that says HDMI out, that is what you will be using to bridge your Mirabox 3.0 to your PC. And then you need to download OBS Studio on your PC, which seems to be the only software on your PC that is able to connect directly to the Mirabox 3.0 and directly interface with your PS3. So by interfacing direct with the PS3, you can actually record your PS3 gameplay directly off of your PC thanks to the Mirabox 3.0. I will say that the PC I'm using is a MacBook Pro. So MacBook Pros, they utilize USB-C, so you have to make sure you have an adapter that will allow you to plug in a USB into it, and so therefore you can interface your USB into USB-C format for the MacBook Pro. So that is definitely the steps I'm having to take in order to record these PS3 games. But once I've successfully recorded the video, I then have to upload it directly to YouTube so that YouTube can then convert it into an MP4 file, because the PS5 is only able to accept MP4 files. At least based on my experience, I don't know if the PS5 can accept other video formats, but I basically download the video directly from YouTube so that it's in its MP4 file. I then upload it to a USB, just a general USB device, not a USB-C device, because PS5 is compatible with only USB. So by doing that, I'm then able to do this commentary directly from Share Factory. And that's pretty much the general step process I'm having to go through with trying to record these PS3 games and then do commentary on my PS5. It is definitely a long task, but it's worth it in the end. After feeling that the whole idea of recording PS3 games is going to be a lost cause, finally obtaining the means to record these games is amazing. And therefore, I'm going to be able to do not only this game, but also other PS3 games. And I have been looking to do a walkthrough of Batman Arkham Origins, given that I have done walkthroughs of Batman Arkham Asylum, Batman Arkham City, and Batman Arkham Knight. So definitely stay tuned for that game when I finally get to it. But having said all of that, let me just talk about the Bourne conspiracy. So you've probably never heard of this game, because this is a rather obscure game. I don't even know if it's available on the PS3 game store anymore. Luckily for me, I do have this game on disc, so I don't have to worry about that. But the Bourne Conspiracy is based on the movie series, as you obviously know. It's kind of a retelling of the Bourne identity, but it does add some sections from the past that you didn't get to see in the movie, because the events of the Bourne identity all take place within the present, and we never got to see Jason Bourne's background. But this game tries to do that, and I think all of these past events that take place within this game are directly referenced in the novels. So that's an interesting idea, to actually add some gameplay elements based on the novel. But the Bourne Conspiracy, as I mentioned, is a 5 out of 10. It is still a fun game, though. It's just there are certain parts of the game that aren't that good, and there are some mechanical problems with this game. Like the melee combat has problems. The shooting, especially, has a lot of problems. The shooting on this game is horrible. The camera sensitivity on this game is atrocious. Like the camera moves so slowly, and even at max sensitivity, it's still very slow because this game doesn't have the best optimization, and I imagine that's just due to the low frame rate. This game, most of the time, it runs at like 30 FPS, but there are those moments where the game can drop down to like 20 FPS, and it can definitely prove to be a bit of a hindrance. But despite all this, that still doesn't take away from the fact that this game can be very fun, and when you're actually breezing through these levels, and when you understand the flow of the game, it can be a lot of fun. But I'll have to talk more about this when we actually get to the later parts of this game. So right now, we've done a whole bunch of melee combat encounters with the enemies, and we're now having a boss fight against O'Connor. So the general gist of the melee combat is square is your light attack, triangle is your heavy attack, X is for blocking, and if you hold square or you hold triangle, you will do a kick. If you hold square, you'll do a long range kick. If you hold triangle, you'll do a heavy kick like that. The heavy kick does a lot more damage, but it doesn't have a lot of range to it, and because you knock the enemies away, it kind of interferes with a loop I've managed to establish against the enemies in the general melee combat.
Check in.
O'Connor's dead.
I'm pulling the plug. It's too risky. Cops are everywhere. Lembosi will know something's up.
I'm going to complete my mission.
How?
I'll go through the docks.
You're gonna need equipment.